Today we want to talk about how fixed index annuities credit interest. Hi, my name is Pat Kerfoot. I'm a certified financial planner. I've been in practice for over 15 years. I will be your host today. This is an educational presentation. It's not intended to solicit the purchase of an annuity or insurance product. The presentation is intended as a brief overview of general features of fixed index annuities. It's not intended to advocate the purchase of any specific product. I am not giving specific tax advice. I am not giving specific financial planning advice. So let's talk about how do we credit interest. Remember that annuities are insurance products. The fixed indexed annuity is using market indexes to measure the interest that's credited to your account. But remember, your money is never in the market. This is an insurance product. You are not buying the index. You're not invested in the market. Again, the insurance company is using the index return to measure the amount of interest they're going to credit. What's a cap? A cap determines the maximum amount of interest credited in a given year. So, we suppose a product that has a 5% cap. If the index return was 3%, the product would credit 3%. So because the cap is 5, you get everything up to that 5% a year. If the index return in a given year was 12%, you get everything up to the 5% cap, and so the product is going to credit 5%. If you have a negative year, suppose the index was down 13%. Well, remember there's a product floor. The floor is 0, so there's no interest credited, but there's no loss. Obviously, the higher the cap rate, the higher the credited interest. Now, what's a spread? A spread allows for uncapped interest. Let's suppose a company had a 3% spread. That means the company keeps the first 3% earned. The rest is credited to your account. So, if the index return was 3%, 3% minus the 3% spread gives you a credit of 0. Remember, the company is going to keep the first 3% earned. If the index return was 12%, 12 minus the 3, your credit would be 9%. And if the index return was negative, let's suppose it was down 13%, the product credits 0 because there's a 0 floor. You don't lose money in a down market. What's a participation rate? A participation rate determines how much of the index return is applied to credit interest. Suppose a product had a 45% participation rate. If the index return was 3%, 45% times 3 would give you 1.35. So your return that year would be 1.35%. If the index return was 12%, 45% of 12 is going to be 5.4%. So your return that year would be 5.4%. And again, if the index return was negative, the product would credit 0%. In a down year, you're not penalized for the down year. So the higher the participation rate, the higher the potential return. Caps, spreads, and participation limits are designed to limit returns. Remember, this is an insurance product. It's not a stock market product. A fixed indexed annuity is not designed to compete with the market. Let's remember what the goals are. In a fixed indexed annuity, the goal is to protect principal, to smooth market volatility, and to provide a reasonable rate of return. And that's exactly why they use caps, spreads, and participation limits. I hope this has been of help for you. If you have any questions or if you'd like more information, feel free to contact me.